Money. The game everyone plays, but few win. Extracting the knowledge from the top 1%. And teaching you the ever-changing rules of play. It's time to level up and take control of the money game.
Let's talk money.
Big money. Yes!
Welcome back to the Money Game. We've got a longtime friend on here. This is much overdue. My man, T. Smith. How are you doing, brother?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic, bro. I'm pumped. I don't know why it took us so long to make the podcast happen. I mean, we go way back, brother.
I know, dude. We for all you guys listening, Tanner and I have gone, dude, since the OG days, like 5, 6, 7 years old type stuff.
Oh, yeah. Dude, in fact, remember when I was at your house back when you guys lived here in Utah and I was flying the kite and I biffed on your tramp? You had that in-ground tramp and I busted my lip and I passed out. Your mom had to call my mom, had to go to the doctor, stitch it up. That's how far back we go, dude.
Dude, no, it's a deep relationship. I would even say like borderline family at this point.
Yeah.
For everybody listening, our dads actually built their company together. And so our background is almost identical in a lot of ways, but stories are different. And so super, super blessed we could get you on, man. Excited to chop it up and talk your story and the things you're doing because, dude, you're blowing up right now. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm pumped to be here, bro. So, yeah, I mean, where do you want to take this? I mean,
100%.
Let me know where you want to go with it, bro. We could go anywhere.
Oh, dude, we could go to the moon and back, but obviously for our audience and for everyone, if you're a first-time listener to the show or you're a repeat listener, right, the reason we have Tanner on, we want to bring people that are moving the needle in their mental capacity with their income, relationships with money, their careers of success, and their families, as well as have niche expertise. So for you guys listening, Tanner is brilliant in the direct response marketing space. He's doing a lot of really cool stuff. He's working with cool people. He's developed his own brand, and we'll talk about some of that stuff. But initially, I think this is something, just because I know your background, that I'd love to speak to a little bit. One of the biggest things with money, right, and with the game and where we see in our vision has so much to do with the way we were raised and some of the things we got exposed to, whether that benefited us, we use it as fuel to say, I'm not going to be there, or we said, hey, I'm going to recreate that. So I would love, just because I know your background and how much it's done for you, speak to me a little bit, watching your dad do some of those things, where you grew up in the mecca of commerce and entrepreneurism in Utah. How has that played a role in your development?
Well, dude, I mean, straight up, I'd say we're blessed, man. Our dads are studs. My dad is like my best friend. We got a really great relationship. My dad was always involving me into his business as much as I asked questions and wanted to be involved in. And so in high school, I really started to actually get more interested, because when you grow up and you realize, hey, your parents are affluent and they're doing cool things, right? Like you kind of start wanting to ask questions. And so I naturally, just through being in that environment, learned about the deals they were doing, about the things that they were trying to make happen. And I actually got on the phones. I started selling their buyer leads back in the day in high school.
Dude, I was actually
16 years old, man, hustling at PMI, bro. I was on a guy named Matt Reinbold's team. And dude, I was actually learning the pitch, learning the sales. So obviously being in that environment with their sales guys, I learned about, hey, how did you generate this lead? Can I listen to the material that they listened to? Can I actually see the ad that they responded to? Right? And I kind of became fascinated with, wait a second, you this was like a cold person, never heard about the deal before. They saw an ad, responded to it. Now I'm selling them online, right? And I didn't make a ton of money. I wasn't a great salesperson. At
16, bro.
No, but the point is that was my first kind of touch. I got a taste of blood, bro, and I loved it. And what ended up happening was, obviously, I went on a mission, came back. I served 2-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Panama. That is like the hardest work ever. So I really kind of grew up and became a man down there, right? I mean, you got to grind. And obviously you do door-to-door sales. So in college, I'm getting recruited and hit up by all these guys. I decided to go with a buddy of mine from high school. His older brother recruited me. I did Pest. And dude, it was fun. I had a great time. I did that first summer. I did another second summer and built a team, recruited a bunch of guys. And then that's actually when I first met you, brother. Like I was this close to getting you on my team, bro. And I wonder what would have happened. Like, you remember that?
Of course I remember that.
Yeah, dude, I was like probably one of the first guys to try to recruit you. No way. Like that's straight.
For
right?
sure. Yeah. And for me, it's interesting because obviously we come from, when our relationship goes way, way further than that. Now, just something for you guys, I think this is such an important piece that I'm just pulling out of your story here early. You get to witness a sales background, and you said, you took a cold person to a customer. And that's like so far out of people's comprehension that you can create that type of value. But that's a part of the game. Those are rules to the money game that people don't understand exist. A lot of people, hey, if I build the product good enough, everyone's just going to come to me. It's like that's never. Such a nugget. But yeah, dude, that's literally when we reconnected. We started hanging out again in Utah when I got back from my mission, and you were already deep in the game.
Dude, the most sore I've ever been in my life, by the way, was when, you took me to the Vasa, and I was like, bro, he kicked my butt. And obviously you can see the rest of his history. He's got the gun still, and I'm still a work in progress. But yeah, dude, no, 100%. That is a massive piece of the game. I didn't quite understand it yet. And I'll get into kind of how that developed in terms of direct response, understanding the psychology that goes into making a buying decision, how you actually get a customer there, how you can actually position and posture yourself in the marketplace to be able to create buyers out of thin air, essentially, right? But I built a team my second year. Third year went back out, and right about that time, third summer, was when I started to realize I was a little unsatisfied with the money I was making, right? Because first summer you're like, holy crap, dude, I'm gonna make $100,000 or whatever, and it's like you're rolling in it, right? You're balling, like. Especially I was going to BYU, tuition's like $2,500 a semester. Like you could live like a king down there. But by the third summer, I started to realize and do some math. I'm like, I'm a business owner. I'm a 1099. I'm not really a business owner though. And the reason why is I'm self-genning my own leads. I got to go out and hustle. If I don't work, I don't make money. How can I create these leads? And so that's kind of when I started going back to the marketing stuff. And right about that time, there's a guy by the name of Frank Kern. He's one of the OGs, like the godfather of affiliate marketing. If you don't know who Frank Kern is, give him a follow. He's a stud. But my dad was doing an event with Frank Kern, and we were down in California. And Frank Kern invited my dad and I to go golfing with him at his country club. And, I was like eating it up.
You're like,
because
hell yeah.
I get to go talk, just me and my dad and this guy with one of the godfathers of direct response marketing, affiliate marketing, and seeing how he created his empire was insane. And, his story, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but he was living in a trailer, broke, spent like a couple $100, his last couple $100 on a course teaching people how to do affiliate marketing, how to build a landing page, create a piece of direct response copy, sales letter, throw it on the page with an offer to build an email list, and you then monetize it through there. And dude, the rest is history. He's blown up ever since. And so at that point in time, I decided actually it was like that trip. I'm like, I'm not doing door-to-door sales again. I don't care how much they offer me. I don't want to do this for somebody else. I want to build my own deal. And I want to learn how to become a marketer. Like that's ultimately all of the people that I'd ever met in my life that I'd seen, they all made money because they could generate the lead. That's the golden goose. Like that's where the money is. And so, dude,
and
it was brutal.
Speaking of that for a sec too, though, I think this is something I've kind of coined this. I think a lot of people talk about this way, but like career stacking or skill stacking, that you don't even arrive at that point if you don't start just hustling down the route and attacking something. Right. Realize like, hey, dude, the sales thing, this is sick. I'm killing it. I'm building teams. Maybe this route isn't exactly what I'm looking for. And then now there's the principle of leverage. And a lot of the people, I think, especially financially, they only think of leverage in terms of like debt. But there's a lot of forms of leverage that you can apply in your money game, in your financial circumstance. And what you're talking about is the leverage of marketing, right? Hey, I can go actually control the pipeline. This is a whole new skill set. Instead of one-to-one, it's now the one-to-many. How do I fill this and do a different game? And I think that's what's so cool, and just people miss this, and I think maybe this is just part of our education process. People go to school, they get their degree, and then they're just done. Actually, for you in school, did you end up finishing school and doing the route there?
Oh, So, dude, funny story about school, man. I suck at. I'm the world's worst student in terms of like traditional education. I barely graduated. I had it all dialed in, man. Because at BYU, for example, you can't have 2 consecutive semesters below a 2.0. So I'd get like a 1.0, and then I get a 2.1, and I get back off of academic warning, right? So I could then go get a 1.0 next semester, then a 2.1. But to graduate, to get your diploma, you have to have cumulative above a 2.0. So I did all the math, and I was at like in my classes like a 1.7 or something. And I graduated in Latin American studies. Like, dude, I
remember
like,
when you tell me that you were studying that. I'm like,
here?
For what?
Yeah. Exactly.
You gonna go back to Panama? Like, what are we doing?
Out of here. And the lady's like, you got to do Latin American studies. And she's like, can you speak Portuguese? I'm like, no. She's like, do you speak Spanish? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, well, if you can go and, pass and get 30-something credits of Spanish and 30-something credits of Portuguese, you can graduate and be above a 2.0. I'm like, all right, let's go. So, dude, I made it happen. I got my piece of paper, bro. Hey, it's not anywhere in my office because I'm not proud of it.
You did better than me. I dropped out, man. I got to that point where kind of similar in that process. I was like, dude, this isn't serving me. I gotta taper out of here. Just interesting for people listening. No beef against education. I just think in the route that we've taken, and I think this is an important piece that everyone needs to understand. Even the guy you brought up, Frank, right? I would say most people in this space playing the game at a high level that are understanding the money game, playing a career that they love, they enjoy, they're thriving, not working for someone else, involves education material, course material, mentorship that doesn't exist in the institutional education space.
That's the only way to make it, bro. It's not like the majority. That's like the only way to make it. That's the only way to do it.
That's where the real value's at.
That's it. Yeah. Because if you don't have that, you don't have a mentor. So let's talk mentors for a second. So my story, continuing on the path here, I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to learn this marketing thing, right? And what ended up happening was I had some leftover cash from summer sales. And I met a kid in one of my marketing classes. His name's Sam Ballard. We're great buddies to this day, but he had a dental laboratory. And I was like, yo, dude, I want to buy into your dental lab. And we make crowns, prosthetics, bridges, veneers. Okay. Like I don't know anything about the dental space, but I'm like, I kind of want to buy in, have a little piece of this, own something and try to build it and grow it. And
on the owner side,
literally right after graduation, I was like, I dumped it in there. And I'm like, yo, let's go, man. Let's make it happen. So, that was like April of 2017, I think April of 2017 until October of 2017. I was hustling, I was grinding, and I was doing a lot of direct response marketing. I was doing a lot of ads. We were doing a lot of cool marketing things, but I was also still doing the sales piece. Like I was still selling. I was learning the lingo, learning vocabulary. We actually took that business from like 40K in MRR in April to like 97 by the time in 6 months, which was big. But we came to kind of a bottleneck in the business where we were doing all the in-house manufacturing and stuff. And so I was like, hey, dude, we got to go get some money. Come to find out, we had some disagreements, nothing crazy. But I was like, hey, I'm going to go and do my own thing because I only own 10% of that business, right? And I'm like, this marketing thing, dude, it works. Like I got to get into it. And I saw the opportunities. And that whole next year was just up and down, smashing your face into a wall, trying to make it happen. But going back to the original point on mentors, we didn't have any mentors. We were just, investing in courses. We were figuring it out. We had no problem failing, jumping off of a cliff, trying to build that parachute on the way down. But we had no mentors. So, and ultimately it was a pride thing. I didn't want a mentor to know where I was personally at. Like, dude,
that's interesting.
I'm not able to pay my bills. Like, I'm getting an agency going. I've got rent. I still have bills. And I'm basically just tapping I felt I was operating from a place of insecurity, to be completely honest. And I did not want anybody else to know kind of where I was at. And because of that, dude, we made some of the worst financial decisions in that business. We finally got our revenues up to like 15K a month.
Dude, but
and then we
real quick, I love that
else.
You said that though. Because I would bet, regardless of career, like, dude, even if they're people in the W-2 space, teachers, principals, trying to be admin, doctors, dentists, lawyers, attorney, whatever it is, accountants, what you just said is so applicable to so many people that I would love to get the promotion. I would love to do this. I know there's an outlet out there. There's people that are at the next level. I'm too insecure to go to the person that actually knows how to fix my problem because I don't want to have to face the reality that I don't know what I need to know. And so for you, right, like, dude, you guys have that. You just said it caused some hiccups. I think all of us at certain levels of growth continue to go through that where we kind of like, oh, now I'm the guy.
Hiccups, dude. Yeah, no, it didn't just cause hiccups. We had to split up. Like my partner and I, we had to completely split up, dude. Like we had to go our separate ways because like, dude, we were like out of business. So here I was, this is a year and a half after starting the agency.
Like, are you married at the point?
Oh yeah, I'm married, bro.
So what's that conversation with your wife? Like, hey, it's gone. We burned it.
Yeah, like, well, my wife is like so supportive, dude. And awesome. She knows, like, we've had conversations. I'm like, hey, are you like really ride or die? Because I'm never working for anybody else. Like, I can't do it. Like, I will go crazy. I actually will drive past an office building or walk through an office building and see cubicles. And dude, I get full blown like PTSD, like anxiety. Like I start to hyperventilate. Like it just stresses me out working for somebody else and not building my own thing, feeling like I'm tapped on my progression. So, dude, it didn't just cause hiccups. It caused us to literally go out of business. We had to fail. We completely shut down that entire business. So here I am. Let's see, how old am I at this point? 26, 27 years old, living in my wife's grandma's basement with zero revenue. And I have to start up a new agency. And my partner and I have gone our separate ways. And I've got like zero runway, bro, like zero. But what had just happened, right? We went out of business not because we didn't know how to market. We learned how to become really great marketers. We made bad decisions. We didn't have mentors to help us. So I felt confident. I'm like, hey, I know what I'm doing now. I just got to go out and just stay focused. And my biggest thing is I've always chased the shiny object. I get distracted. I start to build something good. And I'm like, oh, there's something better out there. The grass is greener mentality has killed me, man, many times over. And so I finally decided at rock bottom, like, dude, I'm shutting this thing down. I'm going to go all in and I'm going to make it happen. And that's what I did. And then that's kind of the start of Smith Digital, my consulting, and did a lot of freelance and consulting work. And then ultimately my business partner and I were able to come back together and launch Syndicate Marketing. And it was great because he kind of went and did his thing. I went and did my thing, both all in on marketing, figured out a lot of things. We got mentors, both of us, on both of our sides, and came back together. And it's been just a beautiful, beautiful story, man, because like we really struggled into this. And like we're still figuring stuff out all of the time, bro. Like I don't have it figured out. I'm still taking it one day at a time. But like I've learned that the people that I look up to, that I think have been killing it, that had it all figured out, they don't. They are just willing to be vulnerable and ask the right questions to somebody who's got it more figured out than they do. And it's just this progress. And that's how I live my life, man. That's how I want to operate. I want to be coachable. I want to put the right people in my corner and just move forward.
Dude, something you just said, I heard a quote. This was the other day. I don't even remember what it was. You just get in the loophole of business freaking reels or whatever. This guy said, it took a lot of violence to become as calm as I am. And I kind of like sat and thought about it for a second because just to your story, right? I think so many people, ourselves included, we've grown up watching the gurus, the apex predators in multiple spaces. And we've been super blessed through our parent, like to sit with our dads, and even our dads, some people might look at them and be like, oh man, it's all figured out. Like, dude, I eat dinner with this guy. Like, he doesn't know what's going on 90% of the time. and at no disrespect, right? But it's just, the reality is that everybody's got the demons, everybody has the insecurities, everybody has the doubts, and the winners are just the ones that just keep showing up. And eventually you get your ego hit enough to just say, okay, somebody has the next missing piece. I need to go find that.
Right.
But I want to talk to something just along that route, because I think this is for guys our age, and we have so many people our age and a little younger that listen to the show. And the fear, everybody, I would say everybody, just because social media, it's like sexified right now to be the entrepreneur, right? But we know, and you know very intimately, there's some hard days. There's some moments. And it's, if the only thing that you're chasing is the dollar, like to me, I've just realized, hey, the build and this is there, and you have to understand the financial rules as you're playing to build it successfully. But there's a different motivation. There's a development there, and your relationship. Some of the people who I know have the best relationships with finances are entrepreneurs because they're actually like the least attached to the income. Just because they've lost it, they've made it, they've lost it, they've made it, they've built all this stuff. Right. So speak to me is, how does your relationship with money, you're going through this and like, dude, you and your wife, you're sitting down, it's $1,300, you're stressed, and then it goes, and then you come back around. Like, what becomes the motivation? How are you guys having these conversations?
Yeah, well, I would say first things first, like I'm actually incredibly motivated by pressure. I just am. Like, whereas a lot of people might shut down with pressure, I actually like to kind of create pressure on myself because that's actually what gets me out of bed.
The MJ.
I'm also the type of guy that, because of my previous experiences, right, leading up and struggling into entrepreneurship, also, for example, like, you know, being a pretty good door-to-door salesman, building teams, selling it, making a lot of other people money, I realized that, hey, I could always fall back to it, but it really wasn't an option. So, like, in the back of my mind, the way that I handled those conversations, I said, hey, babe, like, do you want me to go back and do door-to-door sales? Like, no. Like, I don't want to do it either. Do you want me to go and just be miserable, working a 9-to-5 job, no progression, no pressure? Because I could go do med tech, or I could go do fintech, or I could go do something else like that and make $100,000 a year. But I'm going to be miserable. She's like, well, I want you to be happy. I'm like, okay, well, this is going to suck for a really long time, but I promise I'm going to be happy. Like, I'm going to show up in our relationship, because that's the promise I made to her is, hey, if I'm going to do this, it's going to be hard. I need your support. And I recognize that I can't not show up in our relationship either. And so that's some of the conversations that we had, and we were both on the same page. We ultimately want the same thing, right?
Yeah, just that alignment.
Yep.
Talk to me a little. This is interesting. I think this is something that everybody misses. You know, I've seen, you know, you and I, like, I think you drive a Range, right? Currently at this point.
Yeah, I like Range, bro. I like
Dude,
the Ranges.
Love Ranges. If the dealership was closer to my house, I'd have one, but I've got a Tesla because I'm not driving an hour for an oil change. But you've built this. You went to zero, built it up. Dude, in the last 5 years, 4 years, you and your partner, you're blowing up right now. You're doing the marketing thing. You're scaling a lot, creating a ton of super high-value relationships. As you're starting, though, I think everybody's initial thing is like, I've got to get that, and then I've got to show it. And you didn't even start getting on social media for yourself till what, like 6 months ago? Like, you went ghost.
Dude, not even, bro.
And so talk to me about that, because that is such a temptation for everybody. As soon as they start making like a tiny scrape, to just go flex mode. And I think that's a relationship with money thing, right? Like, I'm trying to prove something to people that don't even care who I am. When you're going through this, what was your mindset on that as you're building, and what you're not showing, what you're showing?
So, I mean, in terms of just me personally, I've never really liked the guys that are super uber, flashy. Just personally haven't loved it. And it's because the guys that I've seen behind the scenes that I know, the wealthiest dudes that I know, you'd never know it. Yeah. Truly. Mm-hmm. So for me,
they got nothing to prove,
hey,
right?
They got nothing to prove to anybody. Yep. They don't. In fact, they don't want people to know they're wealthy. They don't.
That's such an interesting thing, isn't it? Like, rich and autonomous.
This is a business partner from our dad's here. I'm not going to say his name because he probably doesn't want me to say it, but you know who it is. He said, what do you do when you're living the life of your dreams? You keep it to yourself. So that's a mantra that I've wanted to live by, so that I create, like, but why I started getting on social media is because I was so, like, hardcore that way. Like, I don't want anyone to know that I'm doing stuff, but to my detriment, because I'm starting to see, like, yo, if I really want to create impact, if I really want to grow and build value in a community and help people and also grow my agency, we have to have a brand. Somebody has to be forward facing. Somebody's got to be willing to put their neck on the chopping block. And, I've been doing that for our clients for years and helping them consult and grow and build. And so I'm finally like, you know what? I'm going to send it. And I don't want to be flashy, though. I want my content to be high value. I want my content to be teaching people about the things they can implement into their businesses to grow and build. Like, I don't want to just, because honestly, like, dude, I don't have the lifestyle that somebody would just want to follow me for my lifestyle. Like, I don't have the Lambos. I don't have a PJ. I don't have the things that, like, you'd follow me for. So I've got to create value.
But he does have the best grilling setup And I'm just trying to come out and eat. I swear every Sunday, this is one of the things I follow him for the most right now, outside of the marketing tips. I'm just trying to see what's going on the grill.
Smoke show, bro. You know it's going to be a 22-ounce dry-aged Wagyu ribeye or bust. That's how we roll.
No, dude, but I love what you're saying because it's so true. And I think in our space, we've realized that in our dad's whole business is that, right? There's limited capacity to touch and impact the number of people if you're not willing to go put yourself in a space that's infinite access. And there's a right and a wrong way to do it. I love what you're doing right now. And obviously you've done this for tons of brands, tons of companies. As you start pouring into this, the direct response side, the marketing, the branding, like what are the things that you notice as people are building their business? Because you've now been doing this with tons of companies. There's so many misconceptions. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So what I would say first and foremost is, people are like, I don't do social media. Facebook doesn't work for my business. Google ads don't work for my business. They do. I mean, they work for every business. You have got like literally you have got to be spending money online. So one of the things I believe in, Ty, regarding money, right, is that it takes money to make money, right? And part of that is you have to invest. You have to create a marketing machine. We call these funnels. Funnels has been a word that's been popularized with Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels over the last 4 or 5 years, but it's always been the same. I mean, our dads called them sequences back in the day.
Yeah.
It's not new. This has always been a thing. This is always, I mean, you go back to the OG Ogilvy, like the direct response kings. Everyone's always had a funnel, a direct response machine. And so if you don't have that in your business right now, you're not going to be able to survive. Like you have got to be actively competing for eyeballs in your marketplace. And so for me, like I just finally was like, I've got to get out of this position of insecurity. Once again, when I've been insecure in my life, I've made bad decisions going back to the beginning of my business, not being vulnerable, not willing to go out on a limb and get the mentors, ask the questions I need to ask, to develop the relationships that I need to develop in my business. It's the same thing with marketing. I had just been holding back for so long, not wanting to go out and build my own brand. And finally, my partner like, dude, do we want to make money? Do we want to create impact? Dude, what are we even doing? And so I was like, hey, I'm going to start posting. I'm going to start going every single day. And the fear for me was, oh, dude, you got to start somewhere. And I can't say that I've worked with brands like Success Resources and Bucked Up and Ethica. I've run 9-figure, businesses, marketing campaigns, and I've got 0 followers. Like it's going to come across as so I just got to stay behind the shadows. But ultimately, bro, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off. You just got to go. Nobody freaking cares. Just go for it.
I don't know what your thoughts on it, because there is a lot of like kind of bogus gurus. But I would say even them, I kind of give credit. I'm like, dude, hey, look, if that dude's willing to put it out there and can make the machine, like maybe eventually he's going to be good enough. But the people that are willing to go play the game are always going to win.
Exactly. So you got to lead with the value, right? You got to lead with that value. What I would say, so for all the listeners on the show, they're like, hey, I know I got to get online. I know I got to build my following. I've been posting a lot. But I'm not getting any traction or momentum. Like that's the biggest thing that I run into. It's because you got to realize that social media, all of these platforms, they've got one goal. Their goal is to monetize people's eyeballs, right? They want to sell eyeballs and impressions is what they call them to advertisers like myself that are willing to spend money to get a product or service in front of them. So when they grow, when they launch, their only goal is to get more users on the platform. Now, it's kind of interesting. The only industries that refer to their people as users are drug dealers and social media. So it's kind of interesting. That's topic for another conversation. But we're not going to get into the ethics and the morality of whether or not social media is good. It's a tool and it's an instrument. You need to know how to use it. So here's how you use it.
Yeah.
Okay. So recognize that when they launch, they're going to be giving people just crazy amounts of free traffic, free eyeballs. Why? Because it's like cocaine. You see people liking and commenting and engaging with your content. You're going to do what? Create more of it. The more content that is created, the easier it is to what? Sell those eyeballs to other people. So the people that got on early, you're never going to catch up to them organically. What I mean by that is just posting without spending any money. No one's going to see it. You're never going to build a brand. So
That's
going back to what I was saying about funnels, building a money machine with an offer. And this is why marketing direct response background is so important, because what I believe to my core is the following. You have to spend money, and whoever spends the most money online is going to win. So how can you spend money? Well, we have to create a way to provide value and sell something that is going to supplement and subsidize your marketing spend. So we hear about this all the time, lead magnets. Have a $27 offer, $7 offer, $97 offer, something so minuscule that they're not going to have to really think about it.
It's an easy decision.
When they buy it, your only goal is you don't want to make money on that deal. Your only goal is to basically have the amount of money spent to acquire a customer, somebody into your funnel, into your ecosystem, equal the amount of money that was spent to get them there. And think about it this way. If you can do that, let's say, Ty, you've got an ebook, PDF, whatever it is for $7, you're selling it, and you can get a purchase for $7. Well, you have a self-funding funnel, right? You have a funnel now that you can get buyers on autopilot into your ecosystem. It doesn't cost you anything because you spent $7 to acquire that individual, boom, and you got somebody for $7. Now, what happens if you're selling it for $7 and it costs you $10? Okay, well, you just acquired a lead for $3.
You're making money to put a lead list and put the machine together.
Yeah. So what happens if you're selling it for $7 and you acquire it for $4? You just made $3, right? So you have to play these games, and that's what I really believe in my core. What we do best is helping people build these machines and understand that complex process. Because let's say, for example, you got this $7, tripwire, this offer. Maybe it's a coaching package. Maybe it's a program. Maybe it's a course or a training that you've done, right? It's $7. Well, hey, you're like, dude, if I can go and spend $1,000, right? Or maybe spend $7,000 to get 1,000 people to buy my product and now start drinking from my, from my information, getting to know me, like me, trust me. It's a numbers game. You might be able to get 1 to 5% of those people that purchase other product from you. And when that happens, boom, you're creating profit. So it's the same thing that has always happened. The same thing that's always been done in the world in advertising is understanding this, because whoever can deploy the most capital will win. Does that make sense?
Dude, I think this is brilliant. I know there's a ton of people that listen right now that like little mom and pop shops, especially the Midwest or my reps or whatever, that are like trying to wrap their head around this. Because I think we grew up in this space, but if you're first time hearing, I don't know that very many people, even that follow Russell Brunson, hear ClickFunnels, they don't totally understand, like, it's a more nuanced term, direct response, right? Most people think marketing, I go to BYU, I go to UC Berkeley, I'm learning about branding and the Coke ads, and I'm going to be on a Super Bowl commercial or whatever it is. But what you're talking about is literally the ability to put lists together, put customers together, acquire customers on autopilot from whatever creatives or things you put out there that generate a book of business or a list that allows you to continue to go make money. That's like with the money game, right? Like that's a whole different level of the game. To be able to understand the math, the algorithms, what your ad spend can be versus what the return on that is, and then where the upsells take place. When you start talking with businesses and you're working with people, what are some of the things, like when you're helping them build this out? Because I'll bet you go into a lot of companies, like they don't have this piece, right? They might have local customers, they got some stuff, but this is the gaslight to every business. Like I'm in the fund space now, and I'm looking at every fund is trying to figure out the direct response play.
Dude, what's crazy?
Because it's gasoline on your product if you have one.
Oh, yeah. Well, because what happens is fear, right? Fear holds us back. And so if I own a business, I'm thinking, I got to spend money on my marketing, and but I'm afraid if I spend money, I'm never going to see that money back. It changes the paradigm completely, because what you have to do is put together a pro forma. Okay, it's a financial statement that essentially, based on the numbers and the KPIs that you can see based off of industry standards or off of your previous data. If you were to spend and deploy, call it $1,000, what could you reasonably expect in terms of new customers, purchases, and potential profit on the other side? Like you have to have a marketing pro forma. If you don't, then dude, you are really just throwing stuff at the wall and you're hoping to get lucky. But the thing with marketing is that it's not about getting lucky. It's a scientific process. We're trying to test a control every single time we do a campaign, but we know we have to play within specific lines. Okay. So perfect example. What do those lines look like? I'll get a little more deep here if you want me to go there.
Dude, I love this. I think this is super valuable. I think a ton of people want to hear this stuff because the technical is the stuff that no one ever freaking talks about, right?
Yeah,
I'm big on the mental. I'm big on like have the balls to freaking go jump in. But I think this is huge.
Yeah. So ultimately, you got to think about there's 3 different pieces of a funnel, right? There's top of funnel, which essentially is kind of overall, brand awareness. It's your first impressions. It's your first touch points. Middle of funnel is kind of how do you retarget those individuals to kind of continue to get them to warm up over time. And then bottom of funnel is where the transaction happens, right? That's where people actually pull out their credit card, are willing to trust you. So understanding kind of these different things, we can create a marketing pro forma that will align with those different parts of the funnel and help us to identify when a piece is broken, right? When a piece of our funnel needs to be improved. So for example, if I'm spending money on Ty's $7 product that we've been talking about, right? And I know that on average, I can get a click on an ad for $1.50. Just that's what it's going to cost me to cold traffic on Meta, $1.50, right? And I'm spending money there. And over time, the more money I spend, the more concrete my data gets. If from one day to the next or 1 week to the next, all of a sudden Ty's cost per click goes to $3. Well, wait a second. Something's going on there. Is the ad fatigued? Do we need to replace that ad? Is maybe the targeting out of line? Do we need to kind of go and revamp our targeting? Do we need to make a more clear offer? Do people actually understand what the ad is trying to do, what the ad is trying to say, right? So, people think like, I'm going to go spend $10,000. I'm not going to see anything back from it. Well, you will if you just spend $10,000 and not are in alignment. But if you're tracking every day, right, and you're holding yourself accountable to the controls that you've set in your pro forma, you will know when something needs to be fixed. So on the flip side of that, that's kind of top of funnel. That's one of the main KPIs we try to look for. CPM is another one, cost per mil. That's the cost per 1,000 impressions. If I'm spending $10 to get my ad in front of 1,000 people, and all of a sudden it goes to $20, right? I know that, hey, people aren't responding and engaging with that ad. So I got to go revamp it. Mm-hmm. It's off. I turn that one off and I got to relaunch another one. I'm not going to continue to dump money on that if it's doing that. Ultimately, then, what's conversion rate? Conversion rate is when you get a click on a landing page. What's the conversion rate that we're looking to see? Of everyone that clicks 100 people, I know 2%. So 2 people actually purchase Ty's product. And it goes to 1. It just got slashed in half. What's going on there? Or if it's 5%, it goes to 2%. We got to fix the landing page. How can we make it more of a direct response offer? How can we make it more sexy? How can we get a better conversion rate there? So there's all of these things that go into marketing that people don't take the time to even think about. So I'm very big when I meet with a client, Ty, going back to your thing, or to a new business to talk to them. I said, hey, what's your average cost per lead? I don't know. Okay, what's your average ROAS? I don't know. Okay, how much money have you spent in the last year? Like 20, 50 grand? So you spent 50 grand, you don't know what your average cost per lead should be? No, we just, do you see the problem? So I'm like, before we spend another dime, we got to get on the same page so you can hold me accountable and I can hold you accountable and we can all be on the same page here. Because if you're tracking like on a cost per lead, you know that you've got to be able to hit certain benchmarks to make it work. That's a business model, right? I feel very passionately about that, as you can tell.
No, bro, I love this because I think even just the detail with which you're speaking about these things, and for everybody listening, right, if you're running one of these businesses, you need to get with somebody that is as dialed, as meticulous in dissecting your model this way if you're spending money in marketing. Because I know you've said it a bunch of times, and I'm a huge believer in this too. It's like, tell your Coke, like, the branding isn't really going to matter. Like, you need to create revenue, right? The sales, the marketing, that's the freaking lifeline of every business as it gets going. If you want 100 million plus, like, you want to run little branding campaigns, like, dude, sick, whatever.
Yeah. It's a travesty.
It's a different play,
like
right?
what college is teaching these people, bro, it's a travesty. Like branding.
Well, they're teaching them to go work for a big firm, right? To get placed at a huge company and go run a commercial on the Super Bowl. And it's a different play, and it's not where – and I love that's why we want to have you on, because this is a piece that people don't understand, right? This is a part of the money game that's like break out of the norm of what 99% of society has told you marketing is And direct response is actually the way that people are making money. It's actually the way these businesses are built. It's actually the way that money is spent. And that's how you take stewardship of the money in your business and what you're spending. So I love that, dude.
Oh, 100%. Yep. Absolutely, bro.
Just a quick thing as we're kind of closing up, dude, as you're working with a business, right? Someone comes to you. I think this is something that a lot of people would have a question on, whether they're somebody in a position to bring someone like you on, or they're the business owner. When they meet with you, right, like what is a budget and how does that process work where someone's like, hey, look, we've spent this kind of money, like somebody says, hey, we spent 50 grand and we're not really sure what we got from it. What does it cost to start testing your direct response side, to start building some creative, seeing what you get out of it and start measuring that? What is like a reasonable budget that people need to have to start testing for their product or offer?
So great question, man. It's different for every business, and it's a tough question to answer. And I'll give you a couple scenarios and situations here. Like, let's say I'm selling this T-shirt. Okay, and this T-shirt costs me $10, but I'm selling it at retail for $50. So there's essentially there a $40 spread, assuming that all shipping, returns, and everything is factored into that $10. My COGS, cost of goods sold, is $10. I want to sell it for $50. I just want to break it down this simple. We've got $40 to play around with, okay? So that would be our break-even customer acquisition cost on a T-shirt like this. Now, the other thing I want to understand before I start to spend money is the following. Hey, based on your previous experiences, how many shirts does somebody buy over a 6-month period, over a 3-month period, over a 12-month period, right? Because if it's 0, then we're in a tough situation, because I have to go and spend $40 or less to be able to make money on the front end, the first purchase. Otherwise, I might not be seeing revenue for a long time. So every business is different. Right now, let's say somebody comes to me and they say, oh, dude, we know that the second somebody gets one of our shirts, they're going to want to buy another shirt within 3 months. I'm saying, okay. And the average COGS of your other shirts are $10 and selling them for $50 as well. They're like, yeah, perfect. So, okay, great. Are you comfortable with then spending $40 to make $40 within 3 months? You'd be doubling your money. I don't know another investment that can guarantee to double your money within 3 months like that. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Most business owners, when I say that, they'd be like, oh, absolutely. But they haven't thought things through in that way, because when they start spending money on their ads and they're like, dude, our ads just aren't working. We can't spend any money. They don't spend the money, so then they don't have people buying the shirts within 3 months.
Because I know once they get our stuff, then they're going to be hooked and they're going to keep purchasing. So like the calculation that you can run is totally different. And that's such a different strategic, creative way of thinking about the finance.
Oh, yeah. Well, what it allows you to do, right, is if somebody's spending money on the same type of product or same type of T-shirt, and they can only spend $20 because of their business model, you can outspend them. You can outbid them. You can literally destroy them because you're willing to spend double what they're willing to spend to acquire a customer. Now, on the flip side of that, what happens if it only does cost us $20 to acquire a customer? Okay, well, we make $20 of profit on the first purchase and then another $40 the next time that they buy, right? So that's definitely one thing to think about. Now, that's a T-shirt. That's a $50 product. So how this works with this shirt is I can realistically test one ad and spend $40 a day and know if it's going to work or not and create a purchase for that. And if it doesn't, I'm going to give it a little more bandwidth. But for the sake of the example, if it's not performing, I axe it. And I go back to the drawing board with a different type of an ad of something that I think will work. So we launch a bunch of creatives simultaneously, knowing that, hey, if we launch 10 to 20 ads, we know one is going to pop. 4 or 5 might be kind of like, middle of the road. The other two to three are going to be absolute dogs. I only want to find the 1 to 2 that are going to pop, right? You're dealing with high ticket products. You might sell for 2 to 5 to 10 grand. Our dads sell products for 40 G's or more, right? So you have to be willing to go out on a limb, because what happens if you can acquire a customer, Ty, for 20 grand, but they're going to spend 40 grand, and you realize you can profit 10 grand on that deal, would you spend 20 to make 10?
Oh,
yeah, all day long to profit 10. Yes, you would. So it just is that's why it's even more important to be a disciple of the numbers than your pro forma, because you can't allow yourself to deploy capital if you don't know it's actually working for you and moving you towards your target ROAS and target profit.
Dude, all of this it's so intriguing. I know there's some people that are listening that are thinking like, dude, I thought I was detailed. I thought I was paying attention. And that's what I love about this, right? And the purpose of Pi, it's like, dude, open people's mindsets, because I'm a firm believer, you as well, right? Mentorship, it's all about exposure. It's really not that the information's crazy complicated or you have to be unbelievably talented. It's just like, dude, if you're never in the right rooms and you're not hearing this, and you don't realize that people are playing the game at this level, they're playing by these rules, they're this creative, they're this detailed, they're this dialed, like you're getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And it's out there. So just in closing, man, because I know you got all these people you got to go help out, but just one of the things we like to talk about, obviously, you're dialed in your business. You're a disciple of the numbers. I love that quote. That's freaking awesome. That needs to be like a mantra on some of your things, something somewhere. As you take this, and this is something I've just seen, I'd love to just hear your piece as we're kind of closing up. I feel like when you become an entrepreneur or sales and marketing especially, right, as you start to build a business, because you have to take care of finances in the business, you start to take care of finances at home a little bit. How much or better, or you're a more clear steward of like the way you should live or living within your means and all of the things that we hear. As you're learning all this, building this, and you're a disciple of the numbers there, how much of this and how does it carry into your personal life and the way you run, the Smith Home book of business?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you can't really separate the two. Now, I know you have to separate the two. You can't mingle personal and business. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is once you, at least in my life, like I operate everything like I operate my business, right? So, and I'll kind of wrap this up here, but I lost a lot of money in crypto. Let's just put it this way. I lost a lot of money in crypto. Talking about being a good steward, bro, I was essentially gambling. And I would have been much better going to Vegas and just throwing it all on black. I would have had a much better shot at making my money.
That's awesome.
Okay, but I've struggled personally with this overwhelming sense of like I'm missing the boat. I'm missing an opportunity.
The FOMO.
The FOMO, dude. Really, my entire 20s. I just turned 30 in June. Basically, my entire 20s, I was doing that. I was trying to get rich quick, trying to get something for nothing. That type of a mindset is dangerous. And after I lost a lot of money in crypto, like overnight, I sat down with a mentor and I actually got vulnerable, going back to this thing of getting vulnerable with people. And he said, dude, he said some choice words, but essentially you are a freaking idiot. And I wish you would have come and talked to me a year or 2 years ago. And he explained to me what he calls the pyramid. And this is what the pyramid is. At the very top, imagine there's a pyramid, right? And imagine there's different layers of the pyramid. At the very bottom, the base of your pyramid, the investments that you make should all be about your business, growing your business. Why? That is the only thing that you can actually control. So if the pyramid represents all of your investments, right, you should never move to the next piece of the pyramid, which are like AAA muni bonds and other things like that are very low risk, maybe house real estate, for example, unless you've got your business dialed in. I was throwing all of my cash at the very top of the pyramid, which is like the smallest piece. And you should only do that when you've got everything else completely figured out. So personally, the way that I run my household now is like, hey, let's try to live, as frugal as possible so that we can make this pyramid as stable as possible, that I can afford to get risky in my business because I can directly control that. And it will allow us, when it's over time, to then get riskier with other investments. So that's how I'm personally running this.
Dude, yeah. I love that. And I think that visual, we need to, if you guys aren't, we need to like get that on a board, print it somewhere. We need to build a little graphic of that because that's so easy to understand and so clear. I've never heard it explained quite that way from like a portfolio allocation, but it's so true. I'm a huge believer. Like, dude, you're never going to get a better, we bring on some people, and we've been introduced to a lot of people who have a lot of wealth in our lives.
Right.
And their number one resource in wealth, and nobody wants to believe this, it's their active business that they've worked on. Their highest percentage of their net worth, everything is tied to the thing they're working on every single day. And then they stack the investments, they take the shots, but those are such an ancillary portion of what they're doing inside bottom level.
Exactly. And the thing that people don't understand is, and I didn't understand this, right, is the average millionaire or whatever it is has 7 streams of income. Okay, well, I kind of got this little side hustle going over here.
That's the worst thing that's ever hit the internet. It's the worst thing that's ever hit the internet.
I agree, bro. I honestly, because what they don't realize is that, well, yeah, they might have 7 streams of income, but they had one main stream of income that overflowed and allowed them to just get riskier on other things over time.
They didn't build 7 at a time. Yeah, 7 streams that you're building at one time. Hermosi said this the other day. He's
Good luck, dude.
Hey, look, I'm not, they have 28 companies in his acquisitions.com. He's like, I'm not the CEO of 28 companies. I have 28 CEOs. I'm not even the CEO of one company. He's like, I do one thing in my business that develops revenue. They go run their operations. He's like, nobody is building 7 things at once. It doesn't
I don't
work.
have the bandwidth. I'm not smart enough to do that, dude.
Dude, nobody is, but you cross and there's problems, right? You just have 7 shitty income streams and not one good one.
Right. Exactly. Amen to that.
Dude, I love it, man. It's freaking so good to catch up. And next time I'm out there, man, we need to sync up for real. I'm trying to come to the barbecue, dude. Even if it's just
Let's
you and
do it, bro.
I'm just trying to whatever's on the grill, dude. I'm there for.
You shoot me a text when you're out here, bro. I'll treat you right, man. I got the best freaking meat plug in Utah.
Dude, I'm all about it. For everyone listening, I know there's a ton of people that are going to want to keep tabs on you, dude, and you're just now blowing up social media. Guys, he puts so much good stuff out there, whether you're just in sales, you're building a business, or you're just a college student trying to learn and get exposed to this information. Tanner is putting out super high-level stuff. He's got a crazy network. He's dealing with people and mentors that are elite. Where can people keep tabs on you, and can they follow you and kind of learn from you?
Yeah, man. Follow me on Instagram, tanner.p.smith. I'm also going to be doing a lot more stuff on YouTube. But, yeah, just shoot me a follow on Instagram, man. Connect with me. Shoot me a DM. I'm here to help, bro. I want to help other people that were in my spot not make the mistakes that I've had to make to get to where I am, because it's brutal.
Love it, dude. Super grateful we could get you on. Everybody go give him a follow. Hit him up. Dude's salt of the earth. This isn't like a guy I just met the other day. This is a dude I've grown up with, and he's doing big things. It's freaking awesome, dude. It's cool to see all the stuff you're doing. Freaking proud of you. Excited for you.
Thanks, brother.
I'm just stoked to see where it goes, man. But for everyone listening, we'll catch you next time on The Money Game.
Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on social media.
Real money. Real money? Money is the answer.
Y'all be cool. And we'll see you next time on The Money Game.
Money. Yes!